been a while. It's really only been like what, 4 or 5 days? How many days has it been? When's the last time I've been live on here? I feel like it's been forever. I missed you guys. Did you miss me in my Varnell Hill voice, guys? Did you miss your girl MMG? What's good, everybody? Oh, before we get into tonight's show, do men really want independent women? Do they? Yes, on a Monday night. I want to go there on a Monday evening. Okay. But before we go there, hey elevator, what's good, my guy? What's good? Oh my gosh, I haven't been on live in like a few days because I was just exhausted. We're on what, like the third week back to school, and I've been momming like crazy. I've been momming. I've been trying to figure out my dating life, trying to figure out what's going on with these men. They're like really complicated. At my big age, yes, men are complicated. Um, but that's why I have the question: do men like independent women or not? Or as we used to say, or nah. So I need y'all to help me figure that out. If I had to guess, I would say no, right? Men, they want women to go 50-50. They want women to help with the bills, but they also want women who will listen. I don't know how that seems like an oxymoron to me because if I'm paying half the bills, if I'm doing half the work, I'm not listening to you gotta say. Hey K Money, what's good with you? Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thank you for hitting that like button when you came in. We're gonna see if we get a few more people in here with us. But like I was saying, tonight we're gonna go deep. Do men really want independent women, or do they just say they do until it gets real? I'm a confident single woman. I've been married before and I've been divorced before. I've had a long term relationship or two. Yeah, I lived a little bit. I'm seasoned out here. Um, but now I'm single and not so ready to mingle, right? I'm just trying to see what's out there because it's been a while. And I got some stories and shenanigans to share. And I want your opinion, men, women. Come through and let's talk dating, independence, respect, and relationships in 2025. Drop your comments, share your stories, and let's keep it all the way 100. Welcome, Cameron. How are you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Where are you hitting me from, Cameron? Um, So I'll start tonight off with a personal dating experience. You guys know I don't mind keeping it real with you guys. Um, but I will say this, okay? It seemed like to me in my marriage, I was constantly being told I need to learn how to let him win. And I was like, what is that about? He was like, let me win sometimes. Like, you don't always have to debate. He used to call me the great debater because that's who I was. Like, if I felt like you were saying something wrong, I would correct you. I mean, I feel like I was doing it out of love, right? So if you told me the sky is blue and it's obviously gray, the clouds are getting thicker, it smells like rain, and then and then I didn't wear a jacket, right? You tell me, oh no, it's nice outside, you don't need a jacket, but I see the clouds are heavy, I see it's pretty cool outside, and then I grab a jacket anyway, then you'll feel like I didn't listen to you, but you were wrong. That's not independence, that's just taking care of me. If you can't tell that it's gonna rain, and you don't have that type of intelligence to understand, not saying that he was unintelligent because he wasn't. He was a very smart guy, but I'm just saying. And this used to be my thing that I used to tell my husband, and I told an ex-boyfriend. I started off by telling the ex-boyfriend before my husband this. I would say, I have yet to meet the man that is smarter than me. I had balls, right? Now that I'm older, now that I'm seasoned, I'm like, that is ballsy to tell a man that. Um, Listen up, K Money. Don't come in here with that foolishness. You are on my live. Don't ask me what time somebody else is going live. But yes, I was just like, that's crazy to tell a grown man that as a woman. And now, after being married, after dating, after constantly hearing, not in the exact words, not somebody never told me this, but I finally got, I need to put my tongue in park. I'm not a man and I don't want to be a man. Duh, I do not want to be a man. I want to be a woman and I want to be treated like a woman. So, um, I guess that means I had to start, exerting my femininity a little bit more and letting men do them in the relationship, even if they're wrong, even if they don't. Like, that's just like that thing where men don't want to ask women for directions, even if they're going in circles, right? And hopefully moving forward, I would date a man who is secure enough. Not hopefully, I know that I will date men that are secure enough within their manhood that they can defer to a woman's intellect. Like, what's wrong with that? You know what I mean? What's wrong with saying, hey, I don't know where I'm going. Can you help me figure it out? Like, what does Google say? Don't just be like, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm still going to keep going in circles. I'm still going to keep going the wrong way. And it's 2 or 3 hours later, and I want you to follow along with me. No. As a man, as a woman, I feel that the man that I'm with has to be smart enough to know that I'm his better half. Well, not better half, but that I make up for where he lacks and vice versa, right? Because I want a man that is smart enough to know when I have the answers that he doesn't. Okay? And I want a man that can complete me full circle. Okay, sorry guys, I had to get a drink of water. I've been running around like crazy today, as always. Momming and all of that. But let's get into it. So that's my little thing, right? Um, I'm very much independent, and it is about to rain. Look at me, I spoke it up. It's supposed to rain within the next hour. Wow, it's been raining all weekend. We had a little monsoon situation going on here in California. Um, Let me go back to my notes. Okay. So, from my experience, I feel like men do want women who are independent, but they don't want women who are independent of them, right? They don't want a woman. They want a woman. I know somebody else. Their woman was calling. Their woman was calling them every step of the way, and I won't really go into details because I never know who's listening, which family or friend is listening. But they, when they hung up the phone, it was like, dang, they act like they can't do nothing without me. And I was like, well, I said to myself, well, can they do anything without you? Like, if they made a decision on their own, even as small as what to cook for dinner, it might be a problem with you. I don't want to be, now see, I am an independent woman, but I do want to marry again, once my kids are older. I'm not going to go into all that. We already discussed that. If you don't remember, check out my prior lives, okay? But I would like to marry again. And this time I would like to get it right. So that's why I have these different dating lives, so you guys can help me figure this stuff out. But I'll say this. I don't want to be dependent on a man. And I don't want a man who wants me dependent on him to the point where I can't just cook something for dinner. Like, if I know he's allergic, or if I know he doesn't like his steak a certain way, or if I know that he doesn't eat chicken, or I know that he doesn't like gravy, whatever it is, I would honestly, make food to fit, his taste. I would do that for anybody like that I'm cooking for. I wouldn't just cook something I know you don't like it and then expect you to eat it and then get mad if you don't eat it. So, the same thing with me, like cook what I like and cook it the way I like it, and if I tried it your way before and I was like, I really don't like it like that, I expect that you would, honor my taste. So, same thing with the house. If I know this is my husband, we could go shopping for the furniture together. We could go grocery shopping together, or I can do it on my own. He could tell me, okay, can you grab this for me? Or if we're paying the bills, we could pay them together. We could share in all those different things that matter to us. I don't mind telling my husband, hey, this is my schedule next week. I'm gonna be here, or what do you think? I'm gonna be meeting up with the girls and stuff like that. Like, did you have anything you wanted to do or any plans for this week, right? So if he tells me that he does, if he had plans that he wanted to take me to go do something or whatever, then I wouldn't have a problem with that, right? I'd be like, okay, well, do you think that I could take a rain check? Could we do it, on another day? Or if it's just something that's really important to him, then I would defer to him, okay? But I wouldn't just be independent to the point where I'd be like, well, I'm going out with my girls. He just going to be mad. I'm going out with my girls this weekend. No, I don't think that women should be that way. Even if you guys are if you're just dating, then he shouldn't have any say. So you're dating, you might be seeing other people. He could see other people. You can't get mad if he sees other people. If he's hanging out with his friends that weekend, you're just dating. If you guys are exclusive and you guys are dating and you're getting to know each other closer and spending a lot of time together, then yes, I would expect that you guys would share that information with one another. But outside of that, if you're not married, then you really don't have to tell your husband every move you are making. And I mean, if you're not married, you don't have to tell like you're the person that you're dating every move that you're making. You may be, if you're living with somebody, it's just common courtesy to say, I'm going to be here at this date and time and whatever. Let that person that you're dating know. You guys should have that type of relationship. So, moving on from that. But yeah, I just thought that was funny. Like, you are always complaining about something. I see why they asked you if it was okay to do this or okay to do that. Then when they did that, like you probably wanted them to do or trained them to do, you had a problem with that. Men, do you prefer a woman who depends on you in some way? Keep it real. For real, keep it real. Do you want your woman to defer to you? And my replay gang, I want you guys to answer these questions too and say hi in the comments. Let me know that you came by. But do you want a woman that uh, depends on you? And I'm talking about more than just, okay, my tire is flat. Because, those are all the things that women, oh, I need gas in my car. I know women, one of my coworkers, her husband took us somewhere. He drove us for a work thing that we were doing. And he was telling his wife, he was like, see, you couldn't have done this. You couldn't have even drove this. This is kind of a hard drive. You couldn't have done this. And you know what? She used to be like, oh, I don't know what I would do without them. Oh, I'm glad I don't have to. I mean, like, she did nothing on her own. She didn't pay the bills. She did nothing. And and some women like that. They like throwing everything on a man's hands. I couldn't see how a man would want to do everything. Like, you're raising another child. I don't know. But it depends on how invested you are, that you would want the woman to depend on you, elevated. But what I mean is, like, do you want a woman that needs you for everything, or like, I don't know, like that would be a problem for me. I wouldn't want to have to ask. And that was something I thought about this weekend. Like, do I really, really want to get married? Am I really willing to step out of my shell and, or not shell, but comfort zone and do what it would take in order to marry somebody? Because I don't even like talking to people like that. Like if I'm chilling, I don't want you to come in disrupting my vibe, or I don't want to have to say, hey, uh, babe, I don't want to have to ask permission. That feels too much like asking permission. Right, that's too much. I don't want to ask you permission. I don't want to, like, I don't mind saying, this is what I'll say. This weekend, I'm going to be at my mom's. Now, I remember one time, one Christmas, when I was married, my husband said, well, I really don't want to go. Now, a lot of times he said he didn't want to do something, and I'd be like, and I make a big fuss out of it, because at that time back then my family used to do everything together, and sometimes he'd just be like, no, I don't want to do it. Like he would say he didn't want to have birthday parties for the kids, he'd rather take them somewhere. And the first time he said that, I was just like, oh no, like I'm having a birthday party and he didn't want to do that. But then I kind of seen what he meant by it, and I understood how he felt. And from that point on, we didn't have birthday parties for the kids unless the kids asked for it. We would do things like take them to Disneyland, take them to the aquarium, things like that, because he wanted to have experiences with them rather than just go to Chuck E. Cheese and things like that. He said, you cool? Yeah, like I don't want to have to ask you everything, but like things like that. Like I wanted to do things a certain way, and he was like, no, I don't want to do that. And I was just like, oh, okay. Because, my family expected to come to a birthday party. And so I went against him, and he said, he didn't really push it that far, but subsequently after that. And he would even tell our kids, like my daughter would be like, oh, I want to do Chuck E. Cheese for my birthday. He'd be like, we're not doing Chuck E. Cheese. But my daughter really, this one year, my daughter really wanted to go to Chuck E. Cheese. And he was like, no, you can go to Chuck E. Cheese all the time. And then, too, not to mention, they shared the same birthday. But I started listening to that because, you have to understand where your mate is coming from sometimes. Sometimes they may have, like around holidays, they may have some type of, what's the word I want to use? They may get to where they don't want to really be around a lot of people sometimes. I know sometimes I'm like that. And as I've grown and got older, I just want to do my holidays at home with my kids. I don't really want to do the family stuff anymore. So, but he was ahead of me in that. I still was really close to my family. But at that time, he wasn't. He wasn't. So I felt like, well, you're not close to your family. So maybe that's why you don't really understand why I'm close to mine. But one year he said, we would go back and forth. But one year he said, I just don't want to go to your mom's for Christmas this year. And I said, okay, well, stay home. And then he said this one, I want you to stay home too. I was like, ugh, ugh. Like, you want to stay home? I've been home. And I think that day we have been arguing all day long. Like that whole Christmas day, we have been arguing all day long. It was terrible. It was awful. I was just like, I know you didn't expect me not to go to my mama house. You stay home, especially you got on my nerves all day. But he just looked at me and he said, I want you to stay here with me too. And I just was like, okay. I did still go to my mom's for just a second, maybe not even 20 or 30 minutes. And then I came back home and spent the rest of me and the kids went down there to probably exchange at my mom's. Because my mom lived close by me too. That was another thing he hated. He hated that that we lived so close to my mom. So I was still dependent, but I just wasn't dependent on him. I probably was dependent on my mom because I was really close to my mom. I want to say I was really, really close to my mom until, I want to say, probably when my mom moved. She used to live right like about a mile away from me. When she moved to basically another state, that's what it felt like. I'm telling you, I was so depressed when she moved. I couldn't even take it. But when she moved far away from me, where it was going to take me like 30 minutes to get there, 20, 30 minutes to get to her house, I think that's when I finally started being, and that's sad because I'm old, but I was just close to my mom. I talked to, up until recently, up until then, when she moved about 7, 8 years ago, I used to talk to my mom every day, go to her house every day. So, and I think women are close to their parents, but I don't think most women are close to their mom like I was, or as reliant and dependent on their mother as I was. And as a mom now, I don't want my children to be dependent on me like that. I want them to be able to go out in the world and be able to spread their wings and fly, whether be in another state, whether whatever it is. I want them to get married and go on about their business. And that's why I'm trying to raise women who are educated, who are smart, intelligent, who make good choices and decisions. So if they do decide to marry, they marry men who add to them, and not that I have to worry about them. Because once they're grown and grown, I'm like deuces. I did my job, so I'm about to cut loose. So yeah, that's what I pray for. But I don't want them to be like me, because even before I was married, like years ago when I was in a relationship, I remember that boyfriend, we went somewhere and I was looking, my mom knows, we were in Los Angeles. My mom knows Los Angeles like the back of her hand. So I was like, oh, let me call my mom. And I must have said it one time too many. And he was like, why don't you stop with that call your mom stuff? We'll figure it out. He did not want me to call my mama, because I was like, because my mom always says what my mom says. Well, my mom, I used to say that all the time. And he was like, no, no, we're not doing that. So I have another question for you guys. The women that you're with, or if you're, yeah, this is a man, if you're in here listening, um, are they, I feel like sometimes women could either be too close to their mothers. Do you have an issue with that? Like when when your wife or your woman won't let go of the apron strings and has to call their mom about everything. I know women who call their mom about what they do in the bedroom with their mates and ask, well, is this weird? Is this strange? He wanted to do this with me. I think I've probably even been that woman before too. And I think that like I said, if I get married, I don't think I would. And I'm learning even now. I'm not married. Even in my dating life, like it's things I don't tell my mom. I don't tell my mom about the guys. I might say something arbitrary, or I'm not talking to him no more, but I don't tell her why. I don't tell her why. I'm not talking to a person anymore, or sometimes I don't even tell her who I am dating. I might say a little bit. She don't even know that I'm dating this person. I don't tell anybody that stuff anymore. I think that I've learned to keep my business to myself, one. And two, I've learned that, sometimes when you share the details of your relationship, people can have judgments and opinions on it. And that would really have an effect on your relationship. Like if you tell somebody, oh, he did so and so, they're going to give their input. And their input could be dead on, but it's always easier for somebody to see what's going on with your relationship when they're on the outside looking in. However, what they are telling you, they wouldn't want you to tell them, or they wouldn't make the same decisions that they're advocating for you to make, right? Or they might give you an opinion that's totally off base, right? It's off base. And here you are in your relationship making decisions and choices based off what somebody else's opinion is. And that's not cool, right? It's not cool for you to be with somebody and somebody else told you, oh, I wouldn't do that. I've been that friend before that would say that I wouldn't do that if I was you, or I wouldn't let him do that if I was you. That's not people's, and I'm saying this, if you're not being physically or mentally or emotionally or financially abused, I feel like people should speak up when they see that. a family member or somebody or a close friend is being taken advantage of, or something detrimental is happening with him. If he's just cheating, let her find out, let her deal with that. If he's just an a-hole or something like that and you don't really care for him, let her figure that out on her own, because I feel like when we make judgment calls on others' relationships, or when we speak out against the relationship, what we really are doing is pushing them closer together. So sometimes you want to be quiet and not say something, but sometimes we do need to say something, I feel. But yeah, I think that the men that I was with probably wanted me to defer to them more. Um, that's number one. And number two, they wanted me to listen more and not be so vocal about my opinions, not debate. Um, Depending on what it is, if it's not something that's going to be detrimental to my well being, if it's not something that, like, for instance, if it's politics or something like that, I don't have to have the last word anymore. Or if I know something and they don't know it, like I asked somebody something recently, I was like, oh, what is this? And they had the right answer. Usually, what I would do is I would go to Google, and I was like, after we're right in the midst of us discussing it, I would go to Google and tell them what it is. Like, always gotta be right. Always gotta be right. But now I'll just let them tell me whatever answer they're gonna tell me. If I ask a question, I don't ask the question anymore and then give an answer. I don't. My grandmother told me that too. You always gotta know everything. I do. I do gotta know everything, and I always gotta be right. But when it comes to dating and things like that, like I said, if it's not something that is going to cause me irreparable damage, go ahead and have that. Go ahead and have that. Whatever you think about what Trump's politics are, I don't have to debate you about that. Whatever. Now, I do feel that I should be able to speak my mind and give my opinions, but at the same time, I don't have to fight you to the end about it. I won't. I won't. I refuse. I don't want to do that with anybody in any situation. I don't care if it's just a friend. I don't want to fight somebody to the end over my opinions anymore. I think I've grown out of that, and I just feel like life is too short to have to be disagreeable. If you can feel what I'm saying on that. Let me see. Let me see. All right, so let me go to my next point, which is but has being independent ever cost you a relationship? I had somebody tell me, well, and I don't feel like it cost me a relationship, but I just feel like that person just felt like I was just set in my ways. Because they was like, well, I'm going to tell you like this. If I have a relationship, I like to be in control and be in charge. And you don't like nobody telling you what to do. So, and I got to be able to be in control and be in charge. And that felt too much like, I don't know what that felt like. Like, I'm not a child, and I'm too grown. Too grown. I'm somebody's grandma, right? So, I don't know if I want to be with somebody that's in charge. You know, like, you must be paying all of my bills. For you to be in charge, you have to be paying all of my bills. I don't ever have to reach in my pocket for a thing. I don't have to worry about Nathan if I let somebody take control and charge. Like I said, I can be quiet. I don't have to debate you on everything. I could compromise. I could be considerate at some point. I know I'm not at that point right now. I am not compromising for nobody right now. I don't want to be considerate. I got too much going on. I got my kids. I got a lot of stuff going on. I'm not doing that right now. So that's why if I come across a male and he's like, oh, so what are you looking for in a relationship? What do you expect from me? If we get to that type of get down, I'm like, oh no, I just want to date. Because no, I don't want somebody taking control of my life or feeling like they have to know every detail, like where am I at, what am I doing, what am I buying. None of that is none of your business. None of it. So I'm cool on that. But yeah, I'm getting the sense that, you know, tone it down, quiet down some, let men lead. That's their position, let them lead. And I feel like sometimes men don't lead. If your man is not, or your husband is not leading in the relationship, it's probably because he can't. You're always fighting him on every issue. You always have something to say. And I know black women specifically, I know we have had to be independent because that's just the cards that we've been dealt. And I'm not going to say women of color because women of color from other countries, they don't have that same um, they don't have that same culture. Women defer to the men from in Africa. Um, Women. I feel like African women could be strong and independent, and they'll say different things. Latino women as well, but I feel like the men are the head of the households and they're respected that way. I feel like if women depended more on men, men wouldn't be with all that 50-50 stuff. Men would step into their roles, their rightful roles. You agree with me, Elevator? Yes. I feel like if you let the man that you if you put yourself in a position to be with a man, right? And you didn't just settle for any type of man, but you got with a man that was to your liking. That man should be somebody that you could respect enough to make decisions. Because if you don't respect him to make the best decisions for you, I just have to question as a woman myself, why would you be with a man and you don't trust his decision making? I wouldn't be with somebody and I don't trust their decision making. And um, with my ex-husband, it got to the point I trusted him when we were in a good space. He had a lot of great ideals, but it was other things that I won't really get into that made me not listen a lot. And with other men that I've been with, maybe the trust factor wasn't there. I knew that they were smart, I knew that they were intelligent, but other things came into play. And so I think probably at those, once I got to that space in the relationship, it should have ended. Once you get to a point in any relationship where you can't trust your partner to lead, I'm speaking to women specifically. If you can't trust your partner to lead, then that's when the relationship is over with, to me. Because what you're saying is that he either disrupted the foundation of the relationship by cheating, with drug use, with abusing you in some way. And so now you can't trust him to make sure that you're good. Because if you're in a partnership or in a marriage, right, you should be able to trust each other that, hey, my wife has my back and my best interest, and you should be able to trust that with your husband. He has my best interest in mind because he know that I got him. We're locked in. We're going to do what's best for our relationship, for our house, for our household, for our children. And if that's not happening, then you gotta go. You gotta go. You shouldn't stay with somebody you can't trust, right? So that's what I would say to that. So where was I at? If you're in a relationship with somebody, trust them to lead the way and let them lead the way. Let the man always make the final decision. But men, even though you're the leader and even though you are making the final decision, consider your wives, consider your woman. Don't just say, well, I'm the man. Beat your chest. I'm man. I make decisions. No, like, for real, sit down and talk to your partner and say, okay, well, this is the amount of money we have, and This is what we can, we got this cushion here. I would like to save up this amount. And then once we get to this point, invest. Or, maybe we could take a little bit more off of that and then do a vacation. What do you think? Or I want to live in this area. I feel like this area is better for us because it's neutral to our jobs. We both have the same commute. The children have a good, whatever it is. You guys should be able to sit down and discuss it and consider both points of view. It should never be where the woman is saying, "Well, no, I don't want to live over there. I want to live closer to my mama," or my mama. Who cares what somebody else outside their relationship thinks or what their opinion of what you are doing is? Oh no, don't go. I wouldn't live over there. If you and your spouse came to that agreement, who cares what other people think? If you got, as long as you guys agree, and that's where where you're at with it, right? So that's what I have to say on that. I wouldn't go against my husband if I'm married. I wouldn't go against him for family or friends. You don't do that. And by the same token, you don't you don't go against him and what he said either. Like, you don't go spend more money, go get another credit card and hide what you're spending from your spouse. No, you guys should have a bank account. You should have your own bank account too, where you can have that independence and have some money. I think the man and the woman should both have their own money separate from the marriage. It shouldn't be all goes into one pot because, what if one person spends more? No, I think all the bills should be paid in one pot. Then it should be, okay, this is the pot we're saving in, the account we're going to save in. This is our vacation account. This is our Christmas account, whatever. Have it all squared away. And then this is what we have left. We'll split what's left. And then I have mine and you have yours. Sometimes they don't know how to make smart decisions. What's up, Dana? How you doing tonight? If your man can't make smart decisions, what does that make you? Because water seeks its own level. If he's not smart, then that means what? I'm not saying you specifically, Dana, but I'm just saying if your man is not smart enough to make decisions for the family, why would a woman be with him? I don't want a dummy. Like I said, if he's cheated, if he's abused you, if he is an addict, if he's an addict, if he's an adulterer, if he is an abuser, he's broken the communication or broken the trust in a relationship. And you got to revisit if that person is worth you sticking it out with and fighting for. Should you go to therapy? Should we go to counseling at the church house? What should we do to stay together? Because if I can't trust you to make good decisions, or you're not making decisions that are smart, I got to ask myself, why am I with you? Like, then that mean I'm not smart, right? If you don't trust their decision making, why be with them? Exactly, Elevated. That's how I feel. Like, why be with somebody that you can't trust their decision making? And maybe, like I said, you could trust it in the beginning of the relationship. Maybe things changed, and if things change, then you got to reevaluate that. Yeah, so if he does make a bad call, he's going to have to be the one to correct things. If the woman makes a bad call, he still is going to have to help correct things. Right, but at the same time, that's why you sit down and discuss it, though. Like, weigh your options as far as, like, okay, if we're going to buy a house together, maybe you bought a house together, and maybe you guys got a car together and it wasn't a good deal, and the woman was like, oh, maybe I think we could move in a better neighborhood. I think that we can get a house for about $50,000 cheaper. I think the house is too expensive. But he's like, no, this is the house. I got to have this house. And then you move there, and then you guys find out that you're underwater upon moving in the house, and he didn't. That's not something that is That's not something that to me is grounds for a divorce or breaking up the relationship, but that is time for you guys to sit down and talk about that was a bonehead move. And I told you, hey, and so now we got this mortgage and now we're upside down in our house. Now all these houses on the street are selling for $100,000 less. And I told you we could have got this house cheaper, but you had to have this house. And now we spent all this money on it. And now what we got to do, wait until the market reverses again. Those are the kind of decisions I'm talking about that have to be discussed and weighed. And you have to be with a man that's smart enough to allow you that space to be vocal and say, no, honey, I think we should wait, right? But ultimately, if he says, no, I want this house, I like this house, I feel like this is going to be a good place for me, us and our children. I like the distance from our jobs. I like the school. I like the area. You know, that's just something that you have to talk about. But if you, I wouldn't want to be with somebody that will make that kind of decision where our finances are being affected, because that's very important, right? But that I know people who have done it. I know people who have had property and they've had to lose their property because their spouse wasn't making good financial decisions. They were constantly underwater, constantly, trying to get out of debt because he kept overspending. I know so many women who are married to men who are spending their money, like they both work, they both make the same amount of money, but he's gambling or he's spending a lot of the money. Both of their paychecks are going into one account, but somehow, some way, she's broke, but he's not. She's living off credit because he's got the wad of cash in his pocket. I don't. Mm-mm. I hear you really do, but is it really necessary to say that I told you so? A smart man would know he made a bad call. Oh, hell yes. If you got us upside down in a house where we're going to be spending, where we're underwater and we're paying more for our house than what it's worth, that's a bad financial call. And you're going to hear my mouth about that. In the beginning, I'm not going to I don't feel like a wife should remind her husband constantly, oh yeah, because we're in this house and we can't move, or we're in this house and we're stuck here and we're paying way more than everybody else. That's not something that you need to keep reminding him every time you get mad, or every time he pisses you off. No, I don't think that. I don't think that you should be able to do that. Absolutely not. Like, he made a bad decision. Talk about it. Move on from it. And the next time, he should know, okay, I'm going to listen to my wife. Or the next time we come to a fork in the road and she wants to go left and I want to go right, I'm going to follow her lead. Because if nothing else, listen, if he follows her lead and she flubs up the thing, then at least he could say, listen, okay, we both messed up. If he listens to her the next time and she makes a bad call, then he could say, you know what? I messed up on the house. You messed up on putting our kids in that school, and I told you that was a bad move. Don't put them in that school. But because your friend said it was a good school, you put them there anyway. And look, now we're having all these problems. So, I mean, that's not a financial call and there was no money loss, but it could be a big issue where the kids are concerned, right? Which is just as important as your finances, or more important, because that's the kids. Right, right, elevator. Like, no, I can't. Like, you lost us money. This is money that could have been securing our kids' future. You no, we got to sit down and talk about this moving forward. I need to have more of a have more of a say in this relationship. Don't just, you know, think that you're going to make all the decisions and then you have us bankrupt because you're just making decisions based on, your feelings, or because you're the man and you're leading, right? So, but yeah, I've seen a lot of different stuff go down with people in relationships. I've seen women just make bonehead decisions because of men. I've seen women who they made all the money and they're still letting the men, like, women, ladies, if you're listening, if you make most of the money, or if your husband or your boyfriend or whatever, because it's a lot of women these days in 2025 who are taking care of men. It's a lot of that going on. I don't understand how I'm paying all the bills and you still think you're going to tell me what to do. You're not paying rent. You're not paying bills. You're barely taking care of yourself. I'm doing it all and you're just here. What my grandmother calls a pair of pants. That's what she called those type of relationships. Like, you just got a pair of pants. You don't got a man. You just got somebody laying next to you. I know a lot of women who are in those relationships. They have children by these men, and these men don't add any value to them. I don't understand how they could be dependent on a man. If I'm paying everything and if I'm doing everything, you don't tell me shit. I wish I would listen to you. You don't tell me nothing. Because I wear the pants in this relationships. In this relationship, you don't tell me nothing. But that's just me. But I wouldn't want to be in a relationship like that. I would want a husband who could take care of me. And when I say take care of me, I mean that I don't have to take care of him. I don't have to pay for nothing really. Like, I can take care of the kids. I can maybe go grocery shopping. I can make sure I can make sure that the house is being ran correctly. You pay the bills. You pay the mortgage. I can pay my own car insurance, maybe. I can take care of my own car note, maybe. I can make sure the kids have what they need. But the big stuff, that's on you. Like, I don't know. Like, why would I be married if that's not the case? Most husbands, the guys, I took a poll of when I was at work. You guys know I used to be a probation officer. And one weekend at work, I polled all the men, older men, younger men, all of that. And I asked them, would they be willing to give their wives their paycheck? They said, yeah, they give their wives their whole paycheck. Just make sure that they, that the house is good. They don't care about the paycheck. I know so many men who would say that as long as the house is good, as long as she does what she's supposed to, I don't care, what's going on with the paycheck. And I know a lot of men who prefer that. Like, I don't want to be bothered with these bills. I want you to make sure that everything is good. And as long as, the lights ain't getting cut off, as long as you got food on the table, because I'm going to have questions if I gave you the paycheck and you didn't do what you're supposed to with it. I don't know, that's old fashioned. Nowadays, you can't really, depending on which job you have and depending on what your finances look like, you may not be able to live on one income, but, even still, I see too many women, single moms, they're doing it on their own. So I have to ask, how come a man can't do it on his own? How come he needs help? If a single mama could take care of 4 or 5 children, I'm a single mom, right? I have 3 teenagers. I'm a single mom. And, I get Social Security for my children from their dad that passed away. But outside of that, I do it all on my own, So I don't understand how come men say, well, it takes two paychecks to run a household. I don't got 2 paychecks. I got hustle. I got I got my wits, and I got God. And that's what I got. So I just be having to wonder about that as well. Like, as far as like if a man can make decisions on his own or lead the family, I also have to ask myself, are you a provider? Because a provider doesn't make excuses. A provider does what needs to be done. I just have to wonder about a man who wants a relationship with a woman and he doesn't want to provide for her. Like you're not even in the position to be in a relationship. If you, I feel like a marriage is a luxury, right? Dating is a luxury. It's an expense. If you want to court a woman properly, and you, not saying you have to spend thousands of upon thousands to get to know a woman. No, she should. Depending on the type of woman you. Now, if a woman is used to dating men like that who go overboard and give her thousands, and you don't have that kind of money, then she shouldn't be dating you anyway. She should be dating men who could do that for her. Like, where's your millionaire at? If you're just dating a IT tech, don't be expecting a millionaire. Uh, don't be expecting. You shouldn't expect him to provide like a millionaire. He's a computer engineer. He's an IT tech or whatever he is. That's the kind of man you're dating. Lower your standards, because you're not dating a basketball player, or NBA player, or NFL player. You're not dating some famous rapper or whatever, okay? Or a businessman who's a millionaire who tricks off his money. If you're not dating a trick, don't expect to be tricked on. If you're dating a run-of-the-mill fella, just expect him to do run-of-the-mill things. That's all I'm saying, you know. And the majority of women, they're not, who will be a woman that a man would know he's going to take care of? Kim Kardashian, a Beyonce, I don't know, a woman who really looks the look, who has that look, who has that, okay, a man is going to buy me the world look. You got to have that kind of look, right? You got to look like that. You got to live like that. And you got to be a boss like that. You got to be a boss woman too. And I'm not saying like with your money, but I'm just saying, you know, that type of woman, she provides a certain type of service for a certain type of man who lives a certain type of lifestyle. Us everyday people, uh, even if you're young or whatever, if you're not dating a doctor or a prolific attorney or something like that, lower your standards a little bit. Just be cool with him being able to provide the mortgage, and, you know, be able to pay a good chunk of the bills, and you come in and you pay some of the bills, and you make sure, and you guys have vacation money and all of that. That's what I feel like is responsible. But a man that wants a woman, that wants a wife, and he leads the household, he got to be able to afford that. If you want a woman that listens and shuts up, then you got to be big dog. You got to be holding down the house. You can't expect a woman to listen and she has to come in and pull half the weight. That's just what I feel. I don't know. Somebody correct me. Well, you can't correct me on my feelings. That's just what you can't do. And I know a lot of women say, "Well, I don't mind helping." Why would you? Why would you want to help? Like, if you don't mind helping, then I'm just like, why are you in a relationship then? Because, you know, I see women in women relationships, and they're going half and going 50-50 too. So you could be with a man or a woman. You don't really need to be with a man if you got to go 50-50. Get you a woman and y'all could really be roommates or whatever. Or just get you a roommate. Get your roommate and go 50-50 with them. For real. But independence, it could be a nuisance, but it could be attractive. I think some men like, okay, my woman is a boss. I don't know men like that, but I know some men like that. And that's always been the kind of man that I would say I would want. But it seems like once a man gets a woman like that, he'll like it from at first. Oh, my woman is, you know, she has this job. My woman, she don't need me for nothing. They like that at first. Oh, she's a boss like me. She got it. I've spoken to men like that. Like, my wife, she got a job like this. Or my wife, she do this and that. Like, they're proud of their wives. But when it comes to, like I said, running the household, leading the marriage, they still want that position. They like seeing their wives make that money, and she got it going on, and she driving this, and she already owned a house. She already had this when he got with her. They like seeing that. But when the woman is flexing her muscles and whatever, then it's a problem. He's not gonna like it when she doesn't submit to him right. Elevate. If she doesn't uh need him for anything, then he doesn't really have a purpose in the relationship. If a wife already owns a home when she meets her husband, if a wife already has an expensive car or already has a good job, great benefits, she doesn't really need him. I feel like that makes men feel insecure because it's like and then I feel like in those relationships, men start to either become abusive or they start talking down to a woman and trying to diminish a woman because they want her to uh, know that he's boss, right? I don't know. That's just what I found to be true. But I feel like um, some women, they want to be independent, like as far as their thinking and their decision making. They want to be able to have that. They want to have a say so, but also they don't want to have to carry as big of a load. Like, I'm not childbearing age anymore, but I got children. However, when my children were smaller, I wouldn't want. I worked, and I feel like if I'm giving birth to a child, if I'm carrying your babies, I don't want to have to work so hard. I don't want to have to work so hard to help with the finances. And I know so many women, after they have their child 6 weeks, they're back at it. I know women who, I see some women, they're out here cooking, cleaning, working, giving birth to kids. Um, and the man, he works or whatever, but he's not pulling in half of what she's doing. And he's ruling the roost. He doesn't want to give any of that control up or um I don't know, I just feel like it's just so much on a woman. And I feel like if you have to come home and cook, clean, watch the kids, get the kids ready for school, do their homework with them, while Big Dog is sitting back on his recliner waiting for his meal, I think that's not a marriage. I feel like, what is that? I don't know what that is. I don't know what you would call that. Because he should be grabbing the babies, putting them in the tub too. Or he should be, I feel like if you have little kids 6 and younger, you shouldn't even be out working, women. That's why I said we gotta step it up, and we gotta let these men lead. We gotta stop dating men who are not in the financial position to marry us and lead the way. If he loses his job or something like that, that's one thing. But if he's been working and he's been providing, he should have some type of finances saved up, right? He shouldn't be just dead broke. You guys should be able to make it for 6 months to a year, unless it's just one of those things where he got sick or he got laid off. Who knows? But even then, he should have a severance package. He shouldn't just be flat out broke. You guys should have some type of leg to stand on or some type of room to stand on. I'm saying even before you get married, you should have some type of savings built up for a what if, right? That's what I'm saying. So you shouldn't be marrying somebody who, if you guys are deciding to have children, if you guys want to have children, you should marry somebody who expects you to work. Because who's going to take care of the kids? Who's going to take care of the kids while you're out working? Are they going to daycare? So you're taking your kids to daycare and you're a married woman. That's single mama stuff. Single moms have to take their kids to daycare so they can go to work. I know I'm ruffling some feathers, but I'm just saying. Hold on, guys. Like, real talk. I don't know. To me, daycares are for single moms because why are you having your brand new kid? And I've seen babies at a daycare. And then you wonder why your kid coming home scratched up, bit up, diaper rashed up, getting sick every minute. Your kid is whining, barely listens to you, cause you don't have any real say so over your kid because you let somebody else raise them for the bulk of their day, and you let somebody else have more to say about what's going on with your kid. Don't do that. Raise your kid. All right, guys. So thanks for joining. I appreciate everybody for joining Elevate. I appreciate you for joining in the chat and just keeping this thing going. Replay gang, I thank you. You guys like to come back and watch days later, a week later. Whenever you come and watch, I appreciate you tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this live. Let me know if you did. Leave your comments. I'll comment back. I'm heading on my way home. It's been a very busy Monday. It's only 7:24, and I'm already ready to go to sleep, y'all. Y'all have a good night, and all right, Elevate. I'm gonna check you on the next live. When are you going live next, Elevate? Because I feel like I haven't been on your lives in a cool minute. I really wasn't. I really haven't been on YouTube. I've been, engaging in some shorts or whatever like that. But I was like, I really need a break. I was really going to go until September without going live because I'm just really like, this summer has been busy. Oh, she got her hair down today. I've never seen her hair down like that. That's crazy. Sorry, y'all. I've been living in the same place for a long time, so I know different people and just commenting. But yeah, well, I got a headache too. See, I'm sleepy. I probably need to take my iron pill and go to bed. That's what I'm about to do. I made some tuna yesterday, so I know it's nice and good today. Because you leave that tuna in the refrigerator. You don't want to leave it in too long because that water start coming out of it. But just about 24 hours, everything gels together and you take a few bites. Jody, please believe me. Please believe me. I'm going to have a few bites of tuna. I'm going to take this makeup off my face and I'm going to go to bed. Your girl has been at it from like, what, 7 o'clock to 7. And I'm like, all day long, I'm like, why am I so tired? But I got a lot of content coming, a lot of shopping content that I've been doing this today. I got some good stuff from Ross. Listen, stay tuned for the Ross content. You haven't been live in a while, Elevate? You do good lives too. We should come up with a panel. I'm going to email you. We should come up with a good panel, like for one of these days you're off, like, and one day that I'm not exhausted. Because Saturdays, all I want to do is just lay in bed. And I think this Saturday, I'm shutting my door. Like I said, I'm going to shut my door and lock up. And I'm not coming out of my room until like 2 or 3. I need like a full night's rest and a full day, a day and a half, a night and a day to recruit because my weeks be off the chain. I be running, ripping and running with kids, content, taking care of personal business. I'm almost done with my personal stuff. And I got something good to tell y'all week after next. I'll let y'all know what it is. But something I've been talking about all summer. Something I've been talking about for a while now. But I'm excited. I'm so excited about it. But like I said, I'm belaboring. I'm belaboring. So you guys have a good night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.